Hey vinyl community, it's Doodad Dave here. K is for King, Carole King, one of the greatest albums, Tapestry, ever released. A breakout in popular music, a breakout for a female vocalist, a breakout for a singer-songwriter, 1971. Lou Adler, who produced, it was her second album. Now, Carole King, as many people know, was a very famous songwriter. She did The Locomotion, she did Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, many other, Up on the Roof. Everybody knows that Up on the Roof, that James Taylor, who we'll talk about in a little while and is on this album, and Joni Mitchell, both on this album. Carole King Tapestry, 1971. It's got 6 songs on each side. And here's a picture, if you can see it here, of Joni Mitchell and singing with James Taylor. So there you go. On Ode Records, which was one of A&M's records, Lou Adler producing, as I mentioned, the A from A&M. There's the label, you can see it. And I'll run down the songs. Just an outstanding album. If you've never heard this album, do yourself a favor, get a copy, put it on. It's very warm on the vinyl. I don't own this one on CD. Many of the albums that I love, I own on CD. I was listening to some earlier today, but this, to me, I mean, it was one of the first albums that I think I purchased. It's indescribable. It's one of the best. Big hits, I feel: The Earth Move, It's Too Late. My probably favorite, You've Got a Friend, that James Taylor covered again. James Taylor's on 5 out of the 12 cuts on here, so he has a huge presence. Mary Clayton, who sang the high vocals on the Rolling Stones' Gimme Shelter. Sam Clayton, last week we did Little Feat. Sam Clayton is her brother, who's in Little Feat, the percussionist. Who else is in here? Kootch, Danny on guitar from The Section, who backed up many of the people that we talked about: Warren Zevon, Bonnie Raitt, James Taylor, of course, Joni Mitchell, and Carole King here. Who else? Danny Kootch, and Russ Kunkel is on the drums on So Far Away. He's a drummer from The Section. Leland Sklar, who she would play with later on many albums, and did a reunion album in 2007, Live at the Troubadour with James Taylor, and they switched off. She did a lot of the songs from this album. That's also a great live album of Carole's. I saw Carole in Central Park in the mid-70s, probably 76, 77, maybe it was earlier. I Feel the Earth Moves, So Far Away, It's Too Late, the big hit, Home Again, Beautiful. Beautiful was the title of a Broadway show, and I can't think of the name of the lady who played the Carole King part. Pretty famous. I'll get back to you on that. Maybe I'll put it in the notes down below. Away Over Yonder, which really, Beautiful made me think of the Beatles a lot in its composition and execution. Carole plays keyboards on everything and sings. I think she plays keyboards on everything. There's an electric piano as well. Very nice. Played by a gentleman by the name of Ralph Shuckett that I don't know, but he's excellent. Here's Russell Kunkel again on Where You Lead. You've Got a Friend, Where You Lead, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow. Smackwater Jack, that was written about James Taylor and his heroin addiction. Smack being the slang for heroin. She did it in a playful way, turning it into kind of a country western song. Tapestry, beautiful ballad, sort of along the lines of a Joni Mitchell. And Will You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, that of course Aretha Franklin covered and made famous. So Carole here stepping out and doing a great job with it. So Barbra Streisand did her songs. I mean, so many great vocalists have done her songs. There's Echoes, Way Over Yonder. Did I say it sounded like Ray Charles to me? Beautiful sounded like the Beatles. You hear different people and thinking that this is, she recorded this in January 1971. I mean, barely a year and change out of Woodstock. And you look at what in 71, where Bonnie Raitt was, where Linda Ronstadt, and Joni had just done the Blue album, of course. That was one of her masterpieces, a masterpiece. We did the other album, the Hajira, or Hajira, that came out in 77 with the bass player Jaco Pastorius on it. So that's Carole King. K is for King. Carole King. I'll show you the inside. You get a look at the actual tapestry. The cover was taken by, who was the photographer? Jim McCrary. And that is Carole's house in Laurel Canyon in LA. I'd like to make a shout out to my wonderful daughter, Sherry, her husband, Sean, and my grandson, Phoenix, who just got back to LA. So a little California love in there. Warm California sun love to all of them. We had a great Thanksgiving. And that was Carole King's Tapestry. So next week we will go to J, and I believe I know who's going to dominate the J. It's one of my favorite bands. They come from San Francisco. They have a lead woman singer, which will follow our woman theme that we've been on with Joni Mitchell and Carole King and Linda Ronstadt. And they're not the Grateful Dead. Of course, Grateful Dead in the beginning didn't have a woman singer. So Carole King's Tapestry, 1971 masterpiece. Goes without saying, it went right to #1. In fact, the only album that was on the charts longer back in the 70s was Dark Side of the Moon. So that's really saying a lot. You can't see it underneath my Bonnie Raitt shirt, but I have my Dark Side of the Moon, my Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon shirt on. We will see you for Jay next week. Vinyl community, keep on spinning, keep on rocking, and Doodah Dave signing off. Have a great night.